In this video, I will show you how you can attach your custom meshes to your character and to follow it. Then I will explain how to edit your pivot point or scale and fix material if it's not working in Niagara, and do it in a really efficient way. So let's start it. I will use from Sketchfab this lovely backpack like Legend of Zelda, created by Glenatron. Sorry if I spell it incorrectly. I will use FBX. You can use, for example, GLB. You can bring together a model when you're importing with a texture assembled, and it will create materials for you. Sometimes you may have some issues like it creates material instances instead of materials, and we will need to do some changes in material, so maybe that may not work for you. So if it won't work, so then use FBX, right? So I downloaded already and imported it. So my old textures and static mesh, right? In material, to make it work, first of all, so this is like super simple material. So this one is glass, as you can see, it's just texture. So I exposed it as a parameter, so it's easy to do, like hold T, add texture sample, right click, convert to parameter, name it as you like it, right? And you will have it. Then usually opacity is in alpha channel, right? So we're doing that. Because it's a stylized mesh, I'm just using on lit material. For your reason, maybe you want lit, right? So it's a default lit. And because it's a glass, as you can see, material, so I put it on a translucent. Another material, so let's delete this one. Another material I just called simple, right? As you can see as well, not much in here. I set it to lit as well, and just set it to mask and to sided, right? Difference only that albedo now sends from the alpha not to opacity but opacity mask, because we have masked material. Then I have glow intensity and color. So this is because I'm creating then instances to for this backpack to get all textures. So to create instances, right click on your material and create material instance. What instance does, it allows you like to use only one material but different textures for different maybe assets or different like elements on the same asset. For example, like in here, if I will drag and drop this backpack, you see I have like multiple of that. So this is basically how it was created by the artist. So in MI, so it's material instance, so you see like it's albedo, right, and exposed parameter which I created, so we can just enable like that and input our texture, then glow and color. Why I have these parameters while I'm not using them? Because with the same material I can use, for example, for the glow. See, like for the glow I'm not using texture, it's basically just default one white, just increased intensity and color, right? So then it's on these balls. So then I don't need to create separate materials for each thing. For the glass, in my glass, you see like I'm just inputting this albedo and there's nothing else. I could add some parameters like controlling maybe opacity, if it would be like lit, controlling roughness, maybe a glossiness, right? In this case it's super simple. Yeah, so this material setup is done. Is just only I need to go back to this one and this one, right? And as I said, like I need to do simple thing which you will need to do as well. We need to find here, by the way, if you don't see like many of these parameters, go in here and check this show all advanced. It's kind of like expands everything. So in here we need to tick usage, right? So by default you see like it sets to nanites, it sets it automatically, but for Niagara, for example, it won't work. For VFX it basically won't work in your game, so you need to find it here. and set it. Where is it? Can I search it? Here we go. Used with Niagara sprites. Used with Niagara mesh particles. Yeah, probably mesh because it's a mesh, but in your case you can just put 2, whatever. Because maybe using with some sprites, yeah, it's up to you. So again, let's search for Niagara. And it's done. This is basically what you need to do to make it work. Okay, so first of all, this is a good thing because I can show how to fix it, but have a pivot point. So pivot point, it's basically where you see your gizmo, right? So if you, let's say, like rotate, you see it rotates around this pivot point. The pivot point really far away from your backpack, it's not great, and scale is really like, comparing to this character, it's much larger. Let's first of all add character, so we can use it as a just base mesh preview. Don't need it for now, but later. Okay. Before editing pivot point, quick explanation. So this button, it cycles between local space and world space. So this, for example, world space, it shows globe. So in world space, it never changing direction of axis. So Z it's up, Y is side, and red one it's X, always forward. In real, it's always forward X. For meshes when you set up, but to do it you will have less headache later to like adjusting that. But this is like in the world position, and if you select this one, will be in your local, so it will be based on what direction facing your this prop, right? So for example, if in world I will rotate, you see my gizmo stays again this way. If I will click that local one, you see my gizmo now it's shifted. So this is basically different. So now when we're talking about facing and pivot point direction, I will talk about local, not a world, right? So you know now. So we're going to modeling mode, we're going X-form, and we're going edit pivot, right? So we now see that around that location something going on. For starters, click center. So now it goes into center of your model. Because our model is not symmetrical, so pivot point still not exactly where we want, like we would want it was like somewhere in the middle of the backpack. So we can grab that line, right, and eyeball it slightly. You can drag it like that, or you can input numbers in here. So it's up to you how you like it. Something like that, it's fine for now. You can enable snapping, right? Maybe this will help. For rotation, I'm always using at least 5 degrees snapping. It helps then catch like round numbers like 90 degrees, for example. So for this is totally fine, but again, now a pivot point direction. So you see X, it goes side. This is what we don't want. So we can click on this and rotate, and as you can see it snaps by 90 degrees. Well, not 90 by 5 degrees, but I can really easily catch 90 degrees. Or you can just like that and input your 90 degrees, right? So it will be totally fine. So accept, and bam, you see like now my gizmo pointing that direction, exactly where our character pointed. Totally fine. Let's edit scale. Right, so let's go to transform. In transform, make sure you have like shared gizmo, but again it will be just one if you have multiple maybe meshes inside of this, not in this case. In here, so last one on the bottom, it's our scale, so I will try 0.5. Let's see. Yeah, I think that will do. Totally fine. So let's complete it, and it won't still change your actual transform, not for like your original mesh. So when you will reuse your original mesh, your transform will, your scale basically will go again to like large one, right? You need to go here and bake transform, right? So apply to all LODs. If you have LODs, bake rotation. We haven't changed rotation. We need pointing always that direction. Recent and pivot point, no, because we already have pivot point where we want. Bake full scale, non-uniform scale, do not bake scale. Yeah, so bake full scale, right? And this is location where we want to save it. So I imported in VFX, so I wanted that. So let's do that. And it's actually, I think, changed my pivot point direction. Yeah, it's changed my pivot point direction. So let's again, not transform now. Transform it was already done. Let's actually put it closer so I can see if it's really good. It's still too big. And that maybe too small. Yeah, we'll do it just fine. And complete. Quick transform. Accept. Okay, now scale is fine. Just again, pivot point pointing wrong direction. So let's come here quickly, adjust it 90 degrees. Accept. Should be fine. Pivot point is most important. If scale won't work in VFX, we can change scale in VFX itself, so in Niagara. We don't care about that. So yeah, that looks fine. Now we can delete this actually, because that should keep our scale and everything else. Hopefully, yeah, this looks fine. Now we're going to create VFX. So Niagara system. New, empty, I don't need anything there, and finish. I'll call it NS to Niagara. Backpack. We can right away drop it here, like that. That's fine. Actually, you see our now Niagara system pointing that direction because we're X pointing, so we will change it like that. So towards the character. That'll be fine. Now we can open it. Okay. Now in here, right away we don't need sprite render. We want mesh renderer. In mesh renderer, now we have this input. We can drag and drop our static mesh. It won't show up here yet because we're not actually spawning it yet because we created empty one. So emitter state. As you can see, it's set to system by default. What this means is not like engine or something system, right? It's actually picking up from this one, right? And in here, if you select this one, you see system state, it's set to infinite and loop duration. What it means is basically will loop infinitely every 5 seconds. Like it loop in spawning every 5 seconds. You can change it here, so then it will apply there because we're using system. I personally like control everything in one place, so I will come here and set it to self. So it means I will set it myself. Then in here I will set it to once and fixed duration. I don't need infinite because I want this backpack spawned once and stay there forever until I will delete Niagara system right from the level or disable it. So we have that. Now in initial particles, right, we have lifetime, right? So it's kind of like spawns this, right, once for this 1 second. So it will stay 5 seconds backpack and it will disappear. This is not ideal. What we want actually is go to particle state. You see it says kill particles. We want to keep it running forever. right? And final, after this one spawn, to make this particle, in our case mesh, to show up, it's actually we want one last thing, it's burst instance. So we want like spawn burst, right, instead of spawn rate. Spawn rate, it constantly will spawn and spawn. This one spawns only once. And while we're done it, you see like spawn count 1, and this backpack shows up. This is cool. One last thing, you see our backpack pointing into Y direction now, right? While our Niagara system pointing into X. What's going on here? It's actually super simple. It's based again on a global and local coordinates. If we just select this emitter, in here we have local space deselected. This local space, it means it's Niagara system. So where Niagara system pointing, your particles will pick it up. If you want based on the world space, keep it off, but in our case we want it local. So you see, bam, and our backpack now properly aligned, proper scale, proper pivot point. Okay, so we have that. Now we can select our Niagara system, and I can select our character device and just click on a folder. It will put them all into one folder. It's kind of like a nice grouping. Before doing anything else, we want VFX Powerup in here. Okay. So this thing will attach our Niagara system to our character. In here we want infinite effect duration, respawn, yeah, whatever, time to respawn, ambient audio, no, this will be custom effect. In here, just select Niagara system, click on the arrow, it will input our backpack Niagara system. Just second with socket. Let's do everything else first. So spawn on a minigame start, so it basically when our level starts it will spawn, otherwise you will need to touch it so it gets added. Audio, no. This is if you want classes or team affection applied to a player, or for example like whole team or all players, up to you. Who can see this power up? Only player that can pick it up, or for example all, right? So I will leave all, but I don't care about this one because I will add it on spawn, right? Not, I don't need to touch it. And then visibility, everyone can see it when it applies to you. That's totally fine. And the final thing, we want to pick it up, as I said, like on the spawn. So in here I can search for the path. And player spawner, probably player spawner. Let's see where I have it. Yeah, it's player spawner. I can even take picker, select that, and on player spawn. I have only one. You will need to add like all of them. Okay, so that setup is done. So last thing, its most important thing is socket, right? So I left it for latest. This is where you want to attach your basically your meshes, your customization, yep, like actors. So we have like base, pelvis, center, head, hands, and feet. In this case, it's a backpack, so I will attach it to the center. We don't have like kind of like a back, right, or chest, which will be like a little bit higher. So center will be, I believe, somewhere in here, right, just in the middle of the body. Yeah, upper, lower and upper body. Okay, so now what I can do, I can select this particle and I can drag and drop it on this character, and now I can see all sockets and bones I can attach to. I already checked, there's no center, unfortunately, so it will be much easier. But what I can attach to, it's a spine. So for example here you can set it, right? Spine goes basically from the bottom up, right? So I think it may be something 2 or 3. I'll try 2. You see now it's attached, and my coordinates looks like that, so I can put them to 0. You see now it's attached, so pivot points attaching there. So this is how in game it would look. What we need now is offset. It's final thing to do. So let's put it there like that. Nice. Again, in initialize particle we need offset. So X, right? So we're doing it like that. Final touch we can do only when we will test it in the game, of course. But now we need at least something to start with. So -32 maybe. And Z it's up, right? So maybe something like that. Let's see. Yes, fine. Yeah, sword will touch our head, but yeah, for the tutorial it's totally fine. Maybe not for your game. Like, let's say round numbers of 15. And that's it. So when we will attach now Niagara system, right, it will be there, but actually our backpack will be here. It should be it. So let's try it in our session. Okay, so now let's start the game and see how it looks. And boom! As you can see, our backpack is following us totally fine. And in Z-axis, I would say is really not bad. It's only this gap between our back and the backpack. So we know, like, you can eyeball it later, or for example, what we can do, we can just do screen grab and use it to offset it better. Okay, so now let's just bring screen grab like that. I will just put it on my second monitor. So now we know, so like what we can do, we can take Niagara system, move it, because it actually was Niagara system move. It's probably that socket. It's not exactly on a spine, right? It's somewhere off it. So something maybe like that from the image, from the screen grab. So why I'm doing that, so I've done how it looks in the game. Now I just need to offset mesh inside of the Niagara system. And we're going into again X and bringing mesh closer to the body. Maybe not too much. Yeah, something like this. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's keep it. Okay, so let's start game and see if now it's in correct position. Here we go. It's, yeah, just a little gap, you can see, but I'm happy with that. I hope this video is helpful to you. Please press that like button and don't forget to subscribe to get notifications about future videos. See you soon!